How's it going, friends? Polling until the general election Sunday. Now, the Law and Justice Party has been in power for 8 years. They will most likely lose power. Donald Tusk of Civic Platform, who is a former prime minister, he's probably going to be prime minister again. Now, the globalists in Brussels hate the Law and Justice Party, so the media's been hyping this as a great victory for moderate opposition against the so-called authoritarian far-right Law and Justice Party. Now, while the Law and Justice Party probably isn't going to run the government, the people who are going to be running the government are going to be a dysfunctional mess, and it's unlikely that any major legislation is going to get passed for years. I'm going to explain the results in two phases because they're so complicated. So there's 5 alliances that won seats. At the top, you've got United Right, and that's the Law and Justice Party, along with some other minor right-wing parties and independent candidates. Then you've got Confederation, which is an alliance of small right-wing parties and independent candidates. Confederation tends to be the most hardcore nationalist conservatives. The interesting thing here is that while they only got 7.2%, most of their voters are all young men. Now, Civic Platform, that's Donald Tusk's party, they're supposed to be a center-right party, but it's center-right like the Christian Democrats of Germany, like the CDU. It's basically fake globalist establishment center-right, and they ran a civic coalition with a bunch of small parties, all of which are very left-wing. One is a left-wing Green Party, one is a left-wing Farmers Party, there's a Progressive Party, and then there's a big chunk of independent candidates. Then you had Third Way. Third Way is primarily a party called Poland 2050 and the Polish People's Party. Essentially, Third Way was promoting itself as the center, the centrists. And then you've got the left, which is an alliance mainly of 2 left-wing socialist parties. So United Right and Confederation got a total of 42.6% of the vote, and everything else here got 53.7% of the vote. Plus there's another 4 or 5% that voted for individual parties that didn't win anything. Now, here's where it starts to get really complicated. So essentially, everything that was running as United Right or Confederation ended up getting 46.1% of the seats. A pretty large amount, but not a majority. So the Law and Justice Party remains by far the largest entity. They're going to have 34.1% of all the seats. The next closest will be Civic Platform with only 26.5% of the seats. So then, along with the Law and Justice members, there's going to be members of 6 different small right-wing parties with another 39 seats and another 16 independent candidates. Now, I've got down here, there's 2 parties from the left coalition that won seats, and then there's 4 other parties that all got like 1 or 2 seats each from Civic Alliance that are all pretty left-wing. So there's like a total of 6 basically openly left-wing parties that got 39 seats. But it's only 8.5% of the House. Now, by the way, there's also a smaller Senate. I'm just showing the percentages for the House. But at any rate, Poland remains a conservative country. The actual openly left-wing parties get very little. Now, along with Civic Platform, some of their left-wing allies, there was 22 independent candidates as part of their alliance. So I've got them here as just a wild card because these guys they could be all over the map. And then third way, you got Poland 2050 and People's Party. Well, Poland 2050 is kind of like a non-leftist Green Party to some extent. And the People's Party is an agrarian farmers party that is more or less socially conservative, but economically on the left. And then there was a center party that got 1 seat, and then there was, I think, 3 independents. But you've got Civic Platform with only 26.5% of the House, and then they got to get all these other people to work together to pass any legislation. And then Duda of the Law and Justice Party is still president, and anything he doesn't like, he can veto, and they have to get 60% to override his veto, which is going to be very unlikely. So for the next 2 years, we might not see anything happen. And then by the time it gets to the presidential election, all these people will be in massive infighting and falling apart anyway. Now, since the Law and Justice Party is the first place party, Duda can still give them the mandate for first crack at forming a coalition government. So it's still possible that the Law and Justice Party could get, say, the People's Party or something, make a deal with them and remain in power. But it looks like right now that probably close to Christmas, this Frankenstein coalition under Donald Tusk will be assuming control of the government. So the media is calling this a big victory for Donald Tusk. I don't know how much of a big victory it really is, because if he gets control of the government, it's going to be a dysfunctional clown show. Now, another thing that happened was the Law and Justice Party put 4 referendum questions on the ballot. Question 4 was, should Poland take in thousands of illegal immigrants from Africa and the Middle East as part of an EU quota system? Now, this question enraged the globalists in Brussels simply because they used the phrase illegal immigrants when you're supposed to use cutesy euphemisms and not call them that. At any rate, a majority of everyone who cast a vote voted no, but all 3 of the opposition coalitions urged their voters to boycott the whole referendum as a stunt by Law and Justice. And so the amount of people voting for these 4 referendum questions didn't meet the threshold to make them binding under Polish law. All right, thanks for watching this video. Click the like button, post a comment below, tell me what you think about all this. And please subscribe to my backup channels on BitChute, Odyssey, and Twitter. And please support me on either Subscribestar or Patreon, links in the description below. And click the subscribe button. New video every few days.